All right, so you need some cash. Time to cash in. All right, guys, let's talk about locking in those profits and how you get it done. It's coming up next. Hey guys, welcome back. MTG Moxman here. If you're new to my channel and you're somehow finding me out there on YouTube, well, hey, thanks a lot for taking the time to check out my content today. I really hope you do enjoy it today. Remember to smash that subscribe button to support the channel and help it grow. Subscribing's free, doesn't cost a thing. All right, guys, we're having a financial video today. We've decided, you caught the thumbnail. You've clicked on the video, you want to know what this is about. We are talking about locking in some of those profits from your Magic cards or any collectible card game it may be. But mainly Magic cards is what I cover here. You've decided you want to sell. You got a car repair. You need to, I don't know, buy new socks, brand new underwear, maybe a whole pizza just for you. Whatever the reason you may be doing, you got to go over your options of how you're going to sell and all the fees associated with that. As well as the fact that not everything is created equal out there, okay? We'll go over the pitfalls, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. I will have a spreadsheet that is my personal spreadsheet. I've taken a lot of the information off because I am saving that for a later video, but I'm going to show you just some of the stuff that goes across my spreadsheets when I'm doing my buy and sells and my profit margins, okay? So you will get at least a little taste of how I do things. So let's go number one with your most likely choices when you're selling your cards. So the places to sell are going to be eBay, your local LGS, maybe an online platform like TCG Player. Maybe you're in a Facebook group. Maybe you're going to sell it to a YouTuber, or maybe you're going to meet somebody at a store, a back alley, a parking lot for an individual sale. That was quite a few places, wasn't it? So let's go over the pitfalls, the benefits, the good, the bad, and of course the ugly of all of these. So we'll start with number one. I'm very familiar with selling on eBay. They have insertion fees, selling fees. Now that they control the shipping thing, you have to pay them on that too. So eBay nickels and dimes you, okay? It is generally a safe place for the most part to sell your products. Okay, you want to sell your Magic cards online to maximize your profit because it's where you possibly get the most profit. Yes, you can sell that way. But you got to understand there are chances that you may get a fraudulent seller. You may get a return because they say it's not the card you sent them. So be very wary of how you word things on your selling buy list and stuff when you do your sale, as well as the fact that you know you're going to pay some fees. You can't avoid it. So don't even try, okay? Make sure you keep things as simple as possible, but you're very informative when you're selling. Understand what you're getting into. eBay is not for everyone, okay? It really can be a risky place to sell. I never sell to people with low feedback. I actually cancel the order and tell them I'm sorry because I'm not taking the chance. They got to build their feedback up somewhere else. I've been hit only once or twice in my total time, but it's just a very negative thing to go through. So I tend to stick to people I know when I'm selling, and I haven't sold in a while, to be honest, okay? But that is eBay. Okay, you're going to pay insertion fees. Sometimes you can get them for free, depending if you're a long-time customer. You're going to pay your selling fees, and then you're going to pay your shipping fees, like through their transaction program when you get paid, okay? Because they don't use PayPal anymore. They use they use their own platform now. It's fine. Fraud, like I said, it's only happened once or twice to me in all my years selling, but it's still a very negative thing. And then always accept returns, because if you don't, they can just keep the item, and you still have to give them back their money. So don't do that. eBay can be good though, okay? You can maximize a lot more money because you'll see the other options, what they do, and you'll see why eBay can be very appealing to people. Now, our next option we're going to talk about is your local LGS. Now, I have sold at lots of local LGSs, especially if I needed cash. And you're looking at 50 or 60 cents on the dollar. So if I have a $100 card, they are literally going to pay me 50 bucks or less, or maybe 60 bucks if it's near mint or they really need it. If I'm trading it in, like say I want to trade up for something, there are places like Face to Face here in Toronto that give you trade bonus. I think 401 still gives you trade bonus as well, but a lot of the smaller LGSs don't do that. They really should though, if you're out there, guys, because if you're trading up, then it counts as a trade, not an actual taxable transaction, okay? Is what we've been learning about, right? So that's why a lot of LGSs do prefer to do that, because it counts as a trade, not an actual sale. But if you need a lot of money and you take a giant thing of cards in, they only give you half the money, that really hurts the bottom line. But you wanted cash, so it's a very safe place to do business. Yes, you're not getting all your money, but it's very safe to do it in an LGS, okay? They're just going to cut you a check. They're going to pay you some cash, whatever it's going to be. but they can do it right there and they can take care of you, and it's a very safe place. I've never had a bad transaction. I've refused deals. When they offer something too low, I have stopped that deal from going through. But I gotta be honest, I've only done that once or twice in my entire career of saying, oh, no, you're not getting my Ugins right now. When I had this big Ugin thing of like a lot of Ugins I traded in, I kept a couple because they were foreign language. I said, I'm not letting those go for like 15 bucks. It's just not going to happen. So I kept them. So you got to remember that. But your LGS is generally a safe place to sell, okay? Because they're going to give you cash or a check. Done. If you're trading up, they can give you bonuses. So remember that, depending on what you're after when you go there. Now, our third choice, online platforms. Now, if you're going to use TCG Player, Card Kingdom, Ivory Snowballs, whatever you're going to use, you can have lost mail. Things do get lost. You can have fraud, where a post office guy takes your stuff or it gets lost en route and they say, oh, we lost it, we don't know where it is. I don't like those options. I've never used them, to be honest. Now, condition of cards. They can argue with you about the condition of card, but they have your cards. So they're looking at them, they say, no, this is what you say. It's near mint. They say, no, that's not it. I don't like those ideas. I like to be right there when they're saying it. So if I don't think it's a good deal, I just take that card out of the pile, okay? If I don't think it's a fair deal for me, I take it out. You can't do that when you ship the cards off to somewhere. It gets there a month later and they deal with it. I don't like that. Now, higher fees. They have a lot of fees associated when you sell on these platforms. 10% here, 3% there, 7% of this sale, up to a max of $50 on this thing. It's a lot of money. They make a lot of money. I can just see it. I'm going, whoa. So again, the fees are going to kill you in a lot of these platforms. They are. But you have to accept that if you're willing to sell to a very wide audience. You can get a very wide audience on these platforms of Magic players. So a lot of people are going to see your cards and a lot of people will buy them. Okay, so that's the good news. Now, number 4, Facebook groups. Now, I am in a couple of the high seller Facebook groups. You basically have to have somebody vouch for you who's already there to say, yeah, this guy's a reputable guy. You can trust him to sell his stuff. He's not a fraud guy. They have lists of people they will not let join these groups. There are people who have ripped off other players for thousands of dollars, okay? You have to be part of one of these groups by getting vouched into. Somebody has to know you. You can't just walk into them, okay? And there's some groups that are just among friends, and they just buy, trade, and sell among very tight groups because you trust those people. But let's face it, you can get 70-80% of value usually. There's no fees associated, but it is word of mouth, so it's a little harder to get into. But if you get in, yeah, you got a pretty steady little group of people you can buy and sell, but it's a smaller group. So they might not be looking for the cards you're trying to sell. So keep that in mind too, but you can get a lot of value out of the actual card value. So you can say, oh, it's worth like 80 bucks. I'm going to walk away with 65, 70. That's a pretty good deal, right? Compared to what I just showed you at the stores or eBay where they're taking 10, 12, 13%. Now, when we jump up and we take a look here, YouTube personalities. So if you sell to somebody like Rudy at Alpha Investments or to myself, let's say, let's use the Mox Man. I haven't bought anyone's collections, by the way, but let's just say you're using me. And it says, hey, you send me your collection. I take a look and I say, look, man, these cards are nothing I'm really after. They're not really great. I can give you a bulk price of X. So I might only be paying you 40 or 50% on the dollar, maybe even less. I could be paying you 20 cents on the dollar, but some key cards I'm paying a lot more for. That's what a lot of these personalities will try to do. They try to roll this in so they end up with a better package deal for themselves, which is understandable. They're buying a whole bunch of your cards. They're transferring money right there through PayPal to you. Okay, so the money's just going to come. Like, usually we'll trust these YouTube personalities to be pretty honest. I know I'm a very honest person. I trust myself a lot. I don't trust a lot of other people, but I trust myself a lot. If I say I'm going to do something, those on this channel know I will do it. I mean, I cracked the box at 2,000 subscribers, just like I said. I've mailed out hundreds of packs of cards already to people over these last couple of years. No one's had an issue, other than a couple that have been lost in the mail, and I can't do anything about that, but I know I sent it. So, the fact you get through PayPal is a good thing. If you're trying to sell a bulk of cards, a lot of these guys can handle it. They can take care of it because they've built up their wealth over a very long period of time. So if you can, I think you can trust most YouTube personalities because they don't want a detriment going on their thing, and they don't want people talking about them in groups in a bad way. So I think that's a pretty safe way to sell as long as you trust the YouTube person you're dealing with. Now, the last one we're talking about here is the individual, the person, the guy at the card shop who slides up and says, hey man, I heard you were thinking about selling some of those cards. I'm very interested. You know what? I'll pay you 80 cents on the dollar. You're like, whoa, 80 cents on the dollar. That's great. Now, the problem with that is this person could be honest. They could also be a thief. They could try to sit you down. I've heard too many stories of a guy who looks over your collection, hums and haws, and then says, you know what, now I'm going to pass at the last minute, right? They go ahead and they pass on that, and then what ends up happening, you didn't know it, but they've walked away with 1 or 2 of your cards because they were looking through so many things at the same time, and they do things to distract you. Be very careful with dealing with an individual you meet at some card shop. Card sharks know what they're looking for, okay? They hear a certain thing, they hear a value, they're going to hit you up for that card. I've seen thefts of thousands of dollars before. I myself have never been stolen from, but I keep like my binders between my legs, my knapsack stays right there. I'm very, very careful, okay? Very careful. And you need to be. You don't want something being dangerous with a person that attacks you with a knife, gunpoint. You got to be careful when you're doing with an individual. You want to have multiple friends. You want a public place. And you need to be able to focus on the deal, okay? I don't recommend this one. It's just too dangerous for me. So I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I would rather use a YouTube personality or a store over this option, even though it can be a lot of money. Unless you personally know the person. If it's your friend and they say, hey, I'm going to pay you $150 for those cards, that's fine. It's your friend. You can trust them. Now, to end this video off, I wanted to show you, okay, because these are the pitfalls of it. I want to show you one of my spreadsheets. It's going to take up the whole screen. It's just a couple of things I've sold off of one of my spreadsheets, but I want to let you guys know how I do things, okay? So this is an actual spreadsheet for my pages. So on this spreadsheet, you're going to see a couple of things. You're going to see the name, which is Fat Packs in this case. Then the name below is Theros, Journey, and then a Ravnica. The units is how many I sold that year. So you'll see 4, 6, and 1. The buy price, what I actually purchased them for, including taxes. So you'll see $24.84, Journey to Nyx is $16.66, Ravnica was $9.99. And the year I bought it in, 2013, 2015, and 2013. And the sell price, $75, $55, $109. And then the year I sold it, 2020, 2020, 2019. And the years I held it for. Then you'll see the profit margins, the losses, the profit, and then eBay fees. And then the very end is actually my total profit for take home. So let's go over the first one here. You'll see Theros there was 4 units sold in 2020. I bought them for $24.84 in 2013. I sold them for $75. Then what you'll see is I sold them in 2020. So I held them for 7 years. Now, my total profit at that point was $50.15 because it's the $75 minus the $24.84. And then I rounded it up, of course. My losses were $16.81 because back then on eBay, I paid for people's shipping. I didn't learn yet that I really shouldn't be paying for people's shipping. So the profit was actually $33.35 minus my eBay fees of $2.61 per unit means it came out to $30.74. So I doubled my money. The problem was I didn't have hundreds of units to sell. I only sold a few. But those are the fees that are associated with me selling it. And I didn't include the packing materials. It's part of my losses, okay? I keep a lot of packing stuff, so I don't really keep a close track on that one like I should. Now, Journey into Nyx, I sold 6 units. Now, I bought them at $16.66. I actually bought these from 401 Games in Toronto when they were doing a clearance special in the summer at one point. I guess it just wasn't selling well. I mean, you know, it was 2015. It was rotating out. It was like, meh. And they were fat packs. So I only held them for 5 years, but I sold them for $55. So I made $33.34. Now, when you see that against my losses of $14.41, means my profit was $23.93 minus eBay fees of $1.63 means I made $22.30. So I made just over 50% profit on those. But let's take a look at the Ravnica one. Now I only had one fat pack I sold of this. I sold it in 2019. I sold 1 pack. Now, I bought it for $9.99 from Toys R Us, if you can believe it. I asked for, I forget what I was looking for at the time, but the guy went into the back, and he just came out with a whole slew of them and said, these are old ones that nobody cares about, so they're all marked at $9.99. I took everything. So, I sold it in 2019. I held it for 6 years in total, and of course, I made a $99 profit on that, which is a massive profit in this case. Too bad I only had 1. My losses were 0, okay? Because the shipping here, he paid for. So I don't have to worry about it. I made sure I'd done it in this case because there was like tracking and stuff involved. So my profit is $99.01, but I paid $7.83 to eBay, which lures me out there at $91.18. So you can see from what I'm showing you guys, is that on that spreadsheet, I have profit every time because I'm waiting long enough to sell. even the 5-year one was pure luck because people kind of took notice of Journey into Nyx. But I want you to realize sometimes I'm waiting 8-9 years. I have Battle for Zendikar somewhere here. Battle for Zendikar fat packs. Okay, those Zendikar fat packs, not on the spreadsheet for this one, but I'll talk about it in a later date. Those particular fat packs, I paid like $55 for them. So I have to make $150 minus the fees and stuff to get my markup of double my money. And usually I would try to rotate that into other products, right? Because I usually use this money to buy more Magic cards. That's how I've rotated and kept up, because life costs money. So those are some of the things I do to make sure I've kept track of my profits and what I do with them. And by the way, I store all this money separately so I know where it is. Because you don't want to put this in a general account and then use it up for bills you didn't intend on. If this is for your car payments, then you're going to roll this into a car payment account. This is for car repairs, your pizza account, whatever it may be. You make sure you know where that money is going and you keep track of it. It is not part of your general revenue because it's profit on top of everything else, okay? All right, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. This is MTG Moxman. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a great one. And bibbity bobbity. Big shout out to all my patrons out there. Thanks a lot, guys. You are rocking it out for me. Now, remember, though, we don't really sell things here. This is for those people who you got to have some cash sometimes. This is the best way I could explain how it's done. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Patrons rock. Viewers rock. Thanks.